get this show on the road. I got my timer started a little late, so but that's all right. So how are you doing, Octavia?
I'm doing well. How are you doing this evening?
Fantastic. Glad to have you on. We're going to get started here and start thanking our sponsors that kind of support what we're doing and, sponsoring our pitch competitions and consulting with our founders and all that good stuff. And
Okay.
so, yeah, so like you've participated in the Lean Stack training, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yeah, Florida Power and Light, they're our sponsor for that, so they take care of that bill for us, and so it's a really neat thing to have available where you can kind of learn from the lead expert in in building startups, and that's Ashmari. So we're thankful for them for sponsoring that and making it available for all of our founders. Innisfree Hotel, they're a big sponsor. They did like three of our pitch competitions. The First Bank has did a pitch competition, and yeah, and the Pensacola Chamber, the Gulf Coast Minority Chamber, all of those folks are really supporting us, including the SBDC and CoLab. So we are thankful for the support from Pat and and what we do as well. And then Bantucola, they're our streaming partner, so we're excited about the support they give us as well. So you're our guest tonight. So why don't you go ahead and do like a little short introduction to yourself?
okay. As Lord stated, my name is Octavia Grimes Hopkins, and I am uh, I'm a new business owner. Just started May the 14th was my launch day, and we create natural and organic products for the um, health and body.
Okay.
trying to trying to help with the process of removing chemicals and synthetics from products that's used day to day. And my background is real estate and childcare, so this is completely out of the out of the boxes. I didn't see it coming, but in this season, this is what I felt led to do, and you know,
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
grateful for all of the help that I'm receiving from Startup on the Blocks. It's been very
Yes.
beneficial.
Yeah. We'll dig a little deeper into that, and we definitely thank you for hopping in tonight and supporting us. Deanna was scheduled to come, and she ended up having a conflict, so we'll get her on a little later. All righty, so let's. I show this chart just to kind of give founders an idea of what a founder's journey is like, and so like you start off designing your business model, the business model design, and so you can. So once you got that, then you can start pitching your idea and to get the stakeholder buy-in. And so and then you go into trying to see if you're solving the right problem or not to get that problem solution fit, and just keep on the journey on down. So where you think you are, Octavia?
Well, I kind of started in a different place. I didn't
Okay.
know about the program until like about 3 to 4 weeks before my lunch date. So
Okay.
I was already kind of like full speed ahead trying to get that done.
Okay.
But once I found out about the program, I kind of dove in and um, went through the lean stack and the canvas. Um, but I would say at this point, I am between the 3 to 9 month stage. So, like I said,
Okay.
I have lunch, but I'm still learning. I'm going back to learn the things that I didn't learn that I wish I would have known or knew about the program before then. But you know, all
Yeah.
this.
So yeah, that's exactly right, and it really like it. but you're still in a good place because when you kind of start learning the best practices, you can go back and fill in some of the
Yeah.
holes you may have didn't fill. It's like, like when you're building something, like if you don't build it on a good foundation, the further you get down the road, you're going to start running into problems.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's best to kind of do that foundations and get that design that correct business model. Yeah, I was getting a haircut this morning, and I was in the barbershop, and they were playing the McDonald's movie with Ray Kroc and everything, and
Mm.
he was he had his McDonald's business, and he was struggling financially, behind on payments and stuff, and he met this guy, the guy explained to him, a different business model that able, McDonald's to kind of grow. And to me, even though it was dramatized, potentially negative way in the movie, but the idea is if you understand if your business model is really critical, you know, so the guy just basically you're in the real estate business, you're not in the burger business, and they built their business around a real estate model for generate income, and so with a startup, it's the same kind of thing. You can have a business, you could be making money, but if you design depending on how you design your business model, you can potentially make more money.
Yeah.
So you just try to design it in a way that it actually can scale,
Mm.
and that's what's the most important. This chart is actually trying to show you the kind of different phases you go through. As a founder building your thing, and then and like up in the right side of it, it's like when you're at the kind of like 3 year point, and you set a goal to kind of have a minimum kind of what your minimum success rate you want to have, and then you have to back all the way back down here and to see what you have to do to kind of go on that journey, and that's what that business model design. So, what did you think of that training when you were actually going through it there?
It was very helpful. It pretty much break everything down, to understand the steps. So it sets a plan into place, and it's realistic, and it's simple enough for you not to feel completely overwhelmed with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the structure, especially the concept of doing a lean canvas versus the business plan, or
Yes.
um, so because I got overwhelmed with the idea of creating a business plan, because it's like half of the stuff you don't know what you need to put in it, or you don't have the figures and the information. So it's kind of intimidating to even attempt to do a full business plan. So the lean
Yes.
canvas broke it down to the lowest, you know, denomination, so you can understand what's actually being asked of you and what's required.
Yeah, and so the business plan idea is based on a traditional type small business, and where you trying to use that business plan to go out and get a loan. Whereas in the startup world, you're actually learning how to pitch your ideas so you can get the funding you need through pitch competition, get in the programs that fund. So, like for example, right now Amazon has a program out there that they're soliciting people to put in an application for, where they're giving out $100,000 cash to the women that get in that program, plus um, 125,000 in in AWS credits. But the idea is that's funding that you can use. Now you may have to be at a like in this, at least in this problem solution fit stage, or maybe past that, to kind of get to that, to get accepted into that program. But if somebody's going to give you $100,000 cash with no strings attached, and plus it's going to train you, how to build
Yeah.
something on their platform, etc. It's and that's why when I tell people, and this conversation came up, I was talking to Quinn a day or so ago, and so like so, and I tell people to apply for these things, even if you're not at the right stage for it, but if you apply for it, you can actually see what they require. So
Yeah.
as you're getting closer to that stage, what they're actually looking for, so you can
Mhm.
actually put your best foot forward. And
Yeah.
so, I explained to him I probably filled out 100 applications before I actually got accepted in the one. But the more you fill out and the more you apply, the more you learn what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something I realized because I kind of like to know my craft completely. And me being in real estate is different from the business world of,
Yes.
learning about the numbers and the products and all of that. So I kind of have to, you know, learn and train myself in this realm.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
okay with that. So I decided that I'm gonna, fail my way to success. So,
Yeah. That
so
you fail fastest in this methodology, whereas the traditional way, you trying to weed out all the risk in your business because you're actually going out and getting loans or putting up a lot of money up front, and taking a lot of risk. But like with this methodology, you actually you do it in the leanest way possible, where you don't put money out there waste. So you learn how to get that customer buy-in from day one, and you only build what the customer really wants, and
yeah,
that's kind of
yeah,
the idea. But that so um, you had that business model design training. So the next phase of training, which we got to kick off, pretty soon here, is that that problem solution fit
mhm,
training. Where we get I think probably get about 10 founders and they can invite their co-founders and their whole team, and we'll work on the more details on how to actually move forward. And so
okay,
yeah, so that's what that's about. Yeah, and so as we were talking, the you've been talking a little bit about you had to kind of get your mindset a little different, from what you've learned, like in the real estate business, and that's hard for most people, is to kind of make that pivot to something different than what you've heard about all your life.
yeah. I mean, it's you can bring in some of your experience and skill set, to whatever you're doing. I mean,
Yes,
because more or less everything is customer service to a certain extent.
that's exactly
So,
right.
I have that down pat, but I need to learn the behind the scene things and learn to not, be intimidated or take the confusion and the fear out of the process. So you
Mhm.
pretty much have to learn from the bottom stages if you're not already there. If you're
Yeah,
used to, you know, uh, business in this realm, then it's fine. But if you are coming completely in, then you pretty much need to submerge yourself in the business aspect of what investors and lenders or whatnot are looking for, as well as your craft. So that's pretty much what I'm focused on and working on, is to develop my craft and learn all I can about the business.
yeah. So like that's so with that training you did, it's all about that business model design, and then if you get that and understand that well, and actually use that traction tool that where you can exercise your business model and play with it, and see what it takes to you can determine when you actually would have a good model to actually work with. But the neat thing about that too and you can understand that because it only requires 7 numbers, and and um, and so once you use that to kind of develop your confidence in the way you make money, you can actually pitch it a lot better. There's a lot of things that go in the pitching, but if you got confidence in your business model, a lot of people have confidence in their idea, but they may not have confidence in their business model.
Yeah, Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing, and the purpose is of that is that where you can actually recruit all the people you need and all the help you need to build whatever you need to build. And so um, and so like this diagram, it it is started in the center, as the mountain said, and that's the founder. But and then the ecosystem is out on the outer rim here, but there are a lot of things in the ecosystem. So I had a chance to talk to a gentleman that on Monday he made it to the semifinals for the Pharrell Black Ambition pitch competition. So
Okay.
yeah, so this guy he's actually developed some software, for like virtual reality and stuff like that. And he's a one man shop.
Yeah.
He entered this pitch competition because his idea was so way out there. He's made it to the semifinals, and by making it to the semifinals, he's actually going to get the coaching to get a chance to pitch to get to the finals, where they're giving away the $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's worth going through the process, and like I said, it's set up to help you succeed, and
Yeah.
pretty much you just have to put in the work and the time, and like the videos that go along with the program that helps a lot
Hmm.
to be able to help illustrate the steps in the process.
Yeah.
So and the mindset, yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's something that you have to really kind of like dig into and get
Yeah.
that under control.
Yeah, and we hold these sessions every Thursday night. And by the way, this is our 99th session in two
All
years.
right, congratulations.
Yeah, and so the deal is the reason why we decided this battle rhythm of every week, because we wanted people like you, the founders, to be able to have a place to connect and ask questions. So like if you have any questions out in owners, this is the time to ask the questions so you can get the feedback and you can meet other founders and that are just like you, or they may be further along than you, and you can actually learn from them. So the purpose of the way we designed it was so you can actually meet here online in the convenience of your home and network with other founders. And then in this hour right here, you could actually meet founders and you can hear their story and kind of relate to it. Or we may have an expert guest that comes in, that actually can actually share some expert advice. And kind of so what's interesting, yesterday there was a Facebook post. A young lady, she says she has this multi $1 million idea, and she was having trouble trying to figure out what to do. And there was just so many comments on suggestions for her on what to do. And so I wasn't connected to her, so but somebody suggested she do connect with startup on the blocks, and I did reach out to her to connect with her. But but there was a lot of misinformation shared with her, and it made me realize how confusing it is for a person that has an idea and don't know where to go, or what to start. And
Yeah.
so what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get more people of color to realize what these opportunities are and to pivot from that traditional idea of a small business and look at the opportunity with these um, working on an idea, building, working with the customers and actually building something and doing it that way as opposed to the traditional approach that most people have heard of. But yeah,
Yeah.
the real thing for this chart is if you kind of look at it, it's saying you got to have a mindset, and then you have to learn the skills and practices. If you learn those skills and practices, you can take advantage of what's in the ecosystem. The ecosystem will also help you develop those skills and practice. So we already see all these $100,000 things out there, these $50,000 things, these programs that pay 25,000, but you can't get to them if you don't have if you don't work on developing the skills. in the best practices, because when you fill out an application, it's going to tell whether you got the skills, or you've been following the best practices or not. And that's
Yeah.
the simplicity of what we're trying to do. Is we're trying to help you streamline your journey to make it as smooth as smooth as possible. And
Yeah.
this is our playbook. I won't dwell on it. Normally show it pretty regular, and so for the individual, we offer these things here in the middle, and then we try to use those things to prepare and connect you with these things on the right here. And there's a bunch of things out there. Yeah, and today I on LinkedIn I got connected on a post where they were doing a pitch competition for veterans, and it's $100,000 pitch competition for veterans. And so,
Oh,
yeah, so
that's awesome.
yeah, and so
Yeah,
like,
in these last couple months of working with you guys, I've learned about a lot of um, programs and a lot of opportunities out there, and it's amazing how many different companies are actually getting involved with putting the funding and the education and the resources out there. So
yeah, and it's because we're trying to grow the economy, trying to create jobs, and that's why they're doing it. It doesn't matter which stage you are. There's some organizations out there to help you get to the next stage. You could be making millions of dollars, but they still will help you get to making hundreds of millions of dollars. That's
yeah,
that's
yeah.
how, and that's a definitely a pretty neat thing. Yep. And so some of our mentors, and the key thing is to engage with the mentors. So have you been able to engage with any of the mentors yet?
I have. Mr. John Riggs, he is, uh, I took him on and he took me on. So
Okay.
he's been working with me, and it's so valuable, the information and the guidance that he's given me. So yeah, it's been a blessing to be able to have that resource of, I don't have to go out and pay X amount of dollars to have this professional
Yeah.
um, help guide me, like literally like walk me step by step on what I can do and what I need to do to get my business where it needs to
Yeah.
be.
Gotcha. So that's fantastic. And so like the neat thing too is that um, the we can also help connect you to mentors that are not even local, and so you can actually take advantage of some of the experts services. It just all depends on what you need for what you're doing, and
Mhm.
so that's kind of what the deal is there. But yeah, there is a lot of opportunity for support out there, and there's a lot of interest in founders of color, and there's a lot of interest in women founders. There's a lot of interest in veterans founders. Every kind of founder you can think of, there's actually support. And so for people, like what you're working on, I think there's probably a dozen or more founders here in the Pensacola area working on similar things, but they're different. But I think there's a lot of expertise that if you all got together, you all could kind of, support each other and move forward, and just kind of move forward a little faster. And but
Yeah.
yeah, we just have to kind of get that thing going. And so the last thing I want to talk about before we get into a conversation together, and everybody in the audience, just feel free to chime in and ask questions. And that's one thing I really want you to know is you we're open to any question, even though we're talking to Octavia. And so if you got a question, it could be related to something we're talking about with her, or if you have any suggestions for her, that would be great as well. But we want you to chime in, because this is the time we set aside, on Thursdays and with this event, and on Saturdays with the office hours, to kind of support you in your journey to kind of move forward. Yeah. So so tell us a little bit about your upbringing from like maybe high school and where you thought you were going to be doing in a career and kind of your path get here because like what the reason why I ask that question a lot of times, but because a lot of times people will see in their journey what actually led them to what their startup idea is.
Well, um, growing up, I wanted to be a doctor. Like
Okay.
I
Okay.
wanted to be a pediatrician. That was stuck with me for a while. I did go to school to be a medical assistant, um, and I had planned on kind of like being an RN and keep it going as far as I could. I started the process a little later because I was a teenage mom, but I didn't let that stop me
Okay.
from continuing, trying to. I didn't want to be a statistic, so
Okay.
I continued in my education. I continued to try to, you know, make things better, and I ended up in real estate. But before that, I was in childcare,
Okay.
and I've been a teacher assistant. So I was in that realm a good while, and then I just went full time with real estate. So things kind of, you know, I feel like things kind of got like shook up and went back to where my original uh, thought of a career, which was a pediatrician, is because I like to help people.
Yes.
And if it's anything that I have information on, or I could educate someone on that could better them or help them health wise or anything, that's that's where my heart is to help.
Yeah. So, so like, I'll see what we can kind of take away from that. So, what is it about what you just said about, what you were interested in and being a single mom? Is any of that stuff something that you can actually use in your pitch?
Well,
That's a trick question.
I mean, if I pick it apart, yeah. I mean, I was a single mom. My mom was a single mom, and I did kind of pick up things, from her as a single
Hmm.
mom. She would use natural and traditional medication. So
Okay.
I didn't necessarily learn it from her. I just was around it. So I
Okay.
didn't really get into it until I was like, in my late 20s or so. And
Yeah.
so just just trying to learn how to take better care of myself and my family,
Okay.
and working with the resources that I had to be able to take care of us is basically the
Yeah.
single parent syndrome. You try to
Mhm.
figure out the least amount of money that you can spend to take care of yourself
Okay.
and your
Gotcha.
family.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, but you got to think about it. So, what is it about s- that story you just told about your upbringing and you being a single parent and your mother was a single parent? It What is it about that story that you could actually that you think might be useful in a pitch?
Well, the part about being exposed to the industry that I'm um, now in, which is the
Hmm.
natural and organic, and more or less just continuing to strive
Yeah.
and stay focused and don't let situations that you're in dictate where you can go.
Yeah.
And
So like if so when you start pitching that you have this personal care or some kind of personal care product or the so the first thing going to come to mind of a person that's out listening to your pitch is what makes you the one to be trying to solve this problem. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. And,
Yeah.
and,
So
and
like,
like I said, I have the experience of growing up with someone that showed me the difference. So,
yeah. Yeah,
so
so yeah, so the point is that you have to in your when you start pitching in the very beginning in your pitch, you have to show your origin story. Why you have to the audience have to connect you to what your solution to whatever the problem is.
Mhm.
And so if you don't ever say that, there's always going to be some question of if
Yeah.
you are the one to solve this problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what I want you to see is that you can use your single mom story and wanting to be a pediatrician and all this stuff to show why how what led you or got you involved in this particular solving this particular problem. So what do you think the problem you're actually solving with your product or service? And maybe we ought to make sure people understand what your product or service is as well. So
Okay.
let me see, can I get your get your link up here to go get it? But go ahead and start talking about
Okay.
product and
Yes.
service and your business model around your product and service.
Okay. So, like I said it earlier, it's in the health and beauty realm. So, I create formulas and tea blends to help the body with its natural healing process. And just over time, people are realizing that there are a lot of chemicals in the products that we use, and that it's causing more harm to our body than any benefit that it could possibly have. So I developed a couple products, and I'm working on a actual brand, and I'm creating more. But one of the biggest issues people have is different little body aches and sprains and spasms. So I have a oil, a muscle massage oil that you can rub in to you know a local area. It's not necessary for the whole body, but if you have like a ache here or there, you can rub it in, and I have customers that they don't want to use anything else because this natural products help them. And what I'm basically doing is trying to keep synthetic chemicals as well as toxic chemicals as out of the consumers that are seeking for these natural products. They know the benefits, and have probably done their research on the harmful uh, ingredients that can be inside of some of these products.
Okay, yeah. So the so like when you're pitching what you're doing, you definitely have to turn it into a story, and say, and then you have to explain how you make money with it, and so when you tying all that stuff in together, that's what people are listening for when you pitch it to the somebody that may want to build you a thing, something to keep track of your customers and what their interests are in the different products, and to do that kind of data analysis. But you literally have to turn it into a story that like even when you put in an application, so like let's say you were applying for that women thing for the AWS, and so you have to they have to understand that you're building something that you want to scale, and you're building something that wants to use the AI technology, to kind of you know so you have your advantage and help you understand your customers, and so you can kind of predict what to put on sale, or suggest what they want to buy, and so
Hmm.
you kind of have to understand all that. So you can just so you have a idea of a shopping cart, and you're selling and taking orders online, and so what the business model is about, what do you do have to attract people to your website, and and how what does it cost to acquire each one, and then how often they come back and buy, or do you set up a subscription thing to kind of get that repeat business. So when you put in an application, you or when you're pitching your thing, you have to people have to understand, or you have to communicate how you make money with your idea.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's a process that I'm working on. Like I said, I kind of
Yes.
started a little backwards, but
Mhm.
I needed to start because if I wouldn't have, I probably would have put it off and put it off.
Yes.
So I'm at this point. I'm paying for hands-on training. So
Yeah. Well,
I'm
you,
learning.
yes. So if you remember that story I was talking about, Ray Kroc, he was out there. He was working his McDonald's business, and he had good ideas, but he didn't actually have the business model, and so you know for a successful type business model to kind of moving forward, and that's kind of what I want to communicate to a lot of the founders out there that have products and services that they're selling. You can create a business model that can scale. You can create a business model that can leverage technology, to get you into some of these programs and get you into some of these pitch competition to get you the funding to scale your idea on out there. But you do have to be conscious of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
it's a lot of opportunity, and like I said, I'm so thankful for the guidance that I'm receiving now, to where I can kind of get back on track and create a solid plan to work from it and build on. So, yeah,
Hmm.
the idea of a subscription. I'll be working on that soon, but it's a lot of
Hmm.
things. I'll have to go back and retrace my steps to get
Oh,
things where, I mean,
well, and like I'm using you to help the other folks in the audience, kind of learn a little bit too. But why don't you talk about how you 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 started, you know, creating your product and how you start, you know, working with potential customers. Kind of tell us a little bit about that.
okay. I kind of dove into it about 15 years ago, started experimenting a little here and there. And throughout the years, I would stop and start
Mm-hmm.
using the product. But I would say about 6 to 7 years ago, I started kind of like getting more interested
Okay.
in it and did a little more experimenting and had people to test stuff out and use my little guinea pig friends and family that was willing to help out to see if the product actually benefited anyone outside of my household.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say when COVID came along, that really and sped up the process
Okay.
because I started doing natural things to help prevent or fight off different conditions and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
when COVID came on the scene, I stocked up on natural products.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And when I did that, I started passing it out to family members outside of my household.
Mm-hmm.
So they started using it and then telling other people about it.
Mm-hmm.
And, it kind of started from there. And when I realized, hey, this is something, not only is helpful and beneficial, it actually has the ability to, be profitable.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I just kind of like crafted and kind of got my formulas and my blends down to a science so I can repeat the process and know what I'm doing because it's kind of like cooking. I was throwing stuff in there. I knew what I was putting in there, but I wasn't like balancing it out and weighing. But now that I have it on the market and I have people that's interested in it, now I have you know the ratios and all that down to a science to where I can put it on the market. So it's been more or less like a word of mouth, um, and it's pretty much kind of growing from there. It's humble beginnings, but I'm on track, and I really have something that I believe, and a lot of people that have used the products and purchased the products have confidence in what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah. So that sounds good. And so then the question becomes, how do you turn that into all what you just said into like a like concise pitching type format. And so, like you can kind of start like, well, you you know, when I was a teenager, I wanted to be a pediatrician, or I wanted to do this stuff, and and then when COVID hit, I started to work on some of these ideas of formulating products, and then I started off, and you didn't tell this part of the story that you told me before, but some of my church members wanted to try my product, and they were trying it, and they loved it. And then I started selling, and getting really good feedback. And so when you kind of shortcut to the key points of your story, that's your pitch.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
so now I'm working, on my business model to kind of maybe come up with some type of subscription package, and so I can kind of onboard customers. So you're kind of telling your journey, and you're telling the story, but you're telling it really quick, and
Mhm.
then get in the highlights part. But the
Yeah.
part of what the audience and the judges are going to be looking for, that connection to your story, single mom, and always had this idea of helping people, and my mom, she was a single mom, and I saw her using natural products, and all this stuff, and so, but I'm telling you, you can actually get that down to a short and concise story, because what you're trying to communicate is you're trying to communicate your connection to the problem by telling your story, and then you're kind of communicating, your formulation of the product, and you try, your church members, tried it and they liked it. Then you expand it to this, and you're generating these sales, and you're showing that people love your product. There's traction there, and so
Mhm.
you see how you can communicate in a different way, and to pitch what you have. And
Yeah.
that's what the point is. You have to take all your experiences, and shorten that into like a really neat story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's definitely a strategy involved in this whole pitch world. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's something that like I said, I know what to do in my profession. So now I gotta stop that and come to this world and this realm and use the tools and the methods that work for what I'm doing now.
yeah. And just think about it. You remember you talked about the lean canvas earlier. There's 9 things on that lean canvas, and that's the stuff that needs to go in your pitch. And so that's the kind of what the point is. And so what we're talking about here is pitching your idea. Just like you're talking to me now, you're pitching your idea when you meet a customer, or when you're pitching for a pitch competition, or to get in a program. You're going to be pitching how you make money with your product or service. And then so they're gonna want to know where you are, what kind of traction you have with your product. But if you leave out the part that you've been, your church members tried it and they loved it, and then you start expanding it, and now you're out doing it this way. You're getting orders from your shopping cart. That's so it's just how you communicate it in the simplest fashion with the fewest amount of words.
Hmm.
And so, like, even when you writing out your application, for a pitch competition, or to get in some kind of program, you have to write it down in this story format, telling this thing, so when somebody reading it, they can understand your journey and where you are now, and what your next milestone is.
Yeah.
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 And so
Gotcha.
Bercel, let's I got a question here. Let's see. You see that okay?
I do. I do.
Yeah, you can.
Go ahead and answer it.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. At this moment, I do not, but that is as far as having a product research, we are working on that. And as I stated, the mentorship and the guidance and wisdom given to me by Mr. Rigsby, that is something that's in the making. It's not mandatory, at this stage necessarily to have that done, but it is something I most definitely am working on getting done. Um, there's a lot of steps to be taken to get to the next level, and definitely I will be looking into
Yeah.
that.
So what steps did you use to kind of test your products and the safety? Did what experiments did you do with your product? Just to kind of and so what because also you classified your products in a certain way to avoid a lot of things as well, right?
Yeah, you can with FDA and FTC, you have to work with their methods of marketing and what they allow and what's required. So I'm working, and I'm doing things within the scope of what they allow. Definitely, I have um, I have business insurance, I have product insurance, so I have the safety on that end. But as far as like the testing, I have done like research on the process and procedures of creating the formulas and have learned, and I'm continuing to learn the safety protocol when it comes to creating formulas and tea blends that people are going to apply or consume. So safety is definitely a big factor and concern, and it's something that I'm definitely looking into and willing to invest in financially to make get it where I
Yeah.
need
Yeah, and so that could be just to become getting in a program that supports you with those type of things. But what um, so like so that's what Versa is asking as a common question. With somebody in a personal care
it.
or a medical related products. So so when you're pitching your products, so you probably need to say something related to that, so you can get so the audience don't have to wonder about that, because when people in the audience are a judge on a pitch competition, if they're wondering about something, then it's hard for them to listen to what you're saying.
Hmm.
So like maybe in your pitch, you say, well, we right now we label our products in this category to stay out of trouble with FDA or whoever like that. So you have to make sure the audience is kind of clear on those kind of things as well. That because you're going to get that question, but if you kind of answer it before you get it, I think that's a that's a strategy. That's probably a good strategy there. Thanks for
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah. So yeah. So like for what you're doing, like and when you think about the lean canvas, so why is it a need for this type of product, and who are the kind of competitors out there, and how is your product different than some of those the other products that are out there?
Well, like I said, it's been more and more studies done about the harmful chemicals that are in the commercialized products out there.
Mhm.
So I mean, even for myself, I'm concerned for myself. So, like I said, I've always had this heart to care about others. So, I would like to pass this on to my kids, and I want my neighbor to be healthy. I want to be healthy, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and as far as like similar or competitors, I would say similar, but it's not the same. CBD and essential oils
Okay.
are in that realm, but like I stated, what I'm doing is the essential oils is kind of like I think it's flooded. I think the
Mhm.
market is flooded with essential oils,
Okay.
and everyone isn't necessarily comfortable with using essential oils.
Okay.
Um, some people may be sensitive to the smells because it can be like really strong,
Mhm.
or
Okay.
it can burn the skin and different little things. I mean, it has its place and it has its benefits, so I won't take away from that. But the product that I create is like an oil base that it absorbs in the skin, and it's not essential oil. It's a botanical infused product. So
Okay.
I take the botanicals and the herbs and the natural components, and the it absorbs in the oil, and so that's applied to the skin.
So yeah,
And
yeah. So that what I want for you and for the audience out there. So like um, you so what you just explained, you know, that's so like normally when you pitch, you sort of demo your product. You say with our teas, you know they allow the to customer buy that cheese, and these cheese are a mixture of whatever, and then it makes the customer feel relaxed or whatever. But then you say, well, with our oils, we're different. We use a different approach than the essential oil approach or the CBD approach, and we use these infused. And most people don't even know that there's a difference between all those things. I know I did until you just said it. And so,
mhm,
like, what I'm getting at here is all these things you were saying, and in answering these questions, you have to string them together in your pitch, and you can do all of that well within the 3 minutes. You can probably do all of it in 2 minutes, but it's just that you have to all those things that are in that lean canvas, you have to address them.
yeah,
And so, and then even though you don't clearly see traction in there, but the audience is going to know what kind of traction, who's interested in what you got, who's willing to pay for what you got. So you kind of have to address that in your pitch, and so but what I'm also trying to communicate here is this 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 stuff you're saying, you have to be able to stitch it together into a story.
mhm,
Yeah, and so like when you apply for a pitch competition, when you apply for a women accelerator program that gives you 100,000, you have to say it you have to communicate it in a clear and concise way, and so that's what learning how the pitch is all about. Like
mhm,
how to
yeah,
do clearly and concisely. And the only way you're going to, as a new founder, you're not going to understand all that stuff, and that's what the purpose of the start, the training, the office hours, the mentors, and that's why it's good to apply for stuff, because it forces you to think about the clearest and concise way to say it in the shortest amount of words.
yeah, definitely. And that's something that like I said, I'm gonna fail my way to fail fast, like you said,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
get
yeah.
through those bumpy periods and learn the craft in every way possible. I believe it's just the best method to
So so
start
so
your
yeah. So I guess the big question is, if you can do a 2 or 3 minute pitch and get 100,000 or 25,000 or 10,000, you know, and or you can do a traditional business plan and go out and get a loan that you got to pay back. Whereas these days here, you don't have to pay back. So it's just a matter of learning, these best practices, and you have to be engaged, with other founders and hear how they pitch their stuff. And I'm always jealous of, when I participated in different things and I hear how clearly people pitch their ideas. But it makes you kind of rise to
oh
the
yeah,
yeah top when you hear yeah.
yeah. I have a lot of few out there, so yeah, definitely. I mean, it's all meant to help you grow and get to where you're trying to be. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
the yeah. So like so what's your kind of a idea of success with your product or service?
Uh, I kind of want to. I mean, success. Yeah, of course, financially, I would like to benefit, but I would like to see more people um, pull back from the things that are harming them. Our community, people of
Hmm.
color, we also have kind of like a higher uh, chance of having these different products and chemicals and synthetics to be in our bodies, because a lot of stuff, a lot of products are like cheaper or more convenient, and just the knowledge of it all, and the education isn't there. And that's something I want to incorporate in my business. So when you go to my website in the future, I want to be able to have educational pieces there to be able to help people to understand that, why is it best to use natural products, and not only that, just different wellness tips that they can use. So just helping people understand, and um, provide the knowledge to them to know that there are alternatives. I mean, traditional products have their place, but to know that there are different solutions out there for people.
Yeah. So like so you yeah, I can imagine how you might feel if you were getting, uh, 1,000 orders a day, or from all over the world, for your product, for your products, and but the deal is you selling these products, and you got these, formulation that you do. And so there's a part of your business where you're always going to be trying new formulations for different things, or coming up with new, product, services, in that way. But you got to definitely infuse that technology in there, in your pitch, because like, so like, so like, it's one thing, it's good to have testimony, it's good, but it's also good to have that data, and then using AI with that data to kind of, you know help you find out more things quicker, you know and so you can actually keep, um, learning, and acquiring more customers based on your insights with that data. So
Yeah.
yeah. So how would you describe your journey so far as a founder?
Oh, it's it has its ups and downs, because you have to kind of like fight your mind. You have to fight the
Yeah.
mindset, and I mean, and be able to face the good and the bad. I mean, because it is it's kind of like a little rocket road until you get a steady little pace going on. Just keeping the confidence, and the hope in it, and just kind of stick to why you're doing what you're doing, and just see the process through. And I mean, I've had some days to cry, because it's it's so much, like just trying to balance life.
So,
Um,
like, are you a member of some group that a lot of other, like, women and men founders that are doing similar things, so you can kind of learn from them? That sounds like it would probably be a good idea to do something like that.
no, the only thing I'm doing as far as like education, or when I don't have any like people that I'm in contact with to get information, I'm constantly learning. I'm actually have my part of my goal is to become a herbalist, to get
Hmm.
certification education in that. So
Okay.
I'm constantly growing, and with that comes time. I mean, you
Yeah.
have to like trade your time out for everything that you're doing. So that's been like the biggest uh, thing I have to hurdle, is delegating my time to be able to
Hmm.
get the craft to where I need to be. And when you feel like you're not doing your best, it kind of
Yeah.
can get your confidence. But I would say just work through and fight through that
Hmm.
stage.
Yeah. So me being curious, I would wonder, is there any, startup or programs, dedicated to the to founders that are doing stuff like what you're doing. And so that's the biggest question you have to ask yourself, because, like, if there's already a group of companies that are out there to help, people like you need to get connected to them.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They know you need the product testing. They know, and so they're going to connect you to all the resources to do that. So
Yeah.
that so
That
like
would
so
be beneficial. Yeah.
yeah. So that's what that's what so like if so Google is your friend. So I would, if I were you, I would start googling. Find out what is the term for your industry. Like, so is it personal care technology? Is it, med technology? What's the term that's used? And make sure you find out all the programs that are out there to support founders that are in that industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And start and also start thinking about, the how you would leverage technology to scale your business out, and so you can actually communicate that in your pitch, because like you can bet, that, like the thing out there for women right now from Amazon, giving you $100,000 in cash plus another 125,000 in support. You can bet they're gonna, when you fill out that application, you're and you should fill it out just to see what are they asking.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
because if depending on how you talk about your business or pitch your business, the first thing somebody might say is not a tech business or whatever, but it's just a matter of how you pitch it. You
Mhm.
see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So you have a product or service, but like that's physical, but you want to use technology to scale it out, and how to target the customers a lot better, how to personalize your product to the customer, and all these kind of things. So you can kind of incorporate that into your verbal pitch and your written pitch, and so you can actually, but so yeah, it's just a matter of weaving that story together, and I think we, um, for as far as the pitch thing too, I, I think you should, listen to, you know find these programs, but also listen to people with similar products pitch their idea that's similar to yours, and just learn from them, and because they're going to get asked all these questions, then you're going to learn what resources they're using, then you can use some of the same resources, and
Yeah.
so yeah, yeah, and that's to me that's your fastest way to learn, and so and yeah, and yeah, definitely, you know participate in our office hours too, and I'll help you get your pitch down, and to kind of like, more clearly, and get the points that will grab people's attention, and get you in a better position to, have some success in getting into these programs, and winning money, so you can, you know get the money to either, uh, pay for some testing, or, whatever, do whatever to get to your next milestone.
Okay. So you said like with the what was like the 3 minute pitch. So you suggest to kind of put something in there about the AI technology or the technology
Well,
period.
so yeah, so most of these, well, pretty much all these, there's a lot of funding for all kind of businesses, but when you talk about the scalable, and people will use the term tech business, so so the deal is you, when you pitching your idea in writing or verbally, there's got to be something in there. Otherwise, you're not going to get accepted. You see what I'm saying in the program?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but we can actually help you with that, and kind of do it, get it clear. There's it's just so many things. It's not as hard as you think, but it's just you have to work on it. And so,
Mhm.
like, I get Troy as an example. Troy, whenever we're going to have a pitch competition, or even before we're going to have a pitch competition, he'll come get feedback on what he's thinking about, and until he tell me what he's thinking about, I don't really know what to suggest to him.
Yeah.
But the more he talks, then I can suggest and see. Like tonight was the first time you told me about your childhood and you wanting to be this this pediatrician or whatever, and that you were a single mom, and that your mom was a single mom, and all of these are things that you can weave into your story.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
that's the things that connect you to the audience and connects you to the problem you're solving. But if you don't realize you need to pitch that, you're in trouble.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
see?
I think the biggest challenge probably for most people that's not used to it is like condensing your life story, or your founder story into those few minutes. But I've seen you do it.
Yeah,
So I've been watching different pitches on YouTube. So I've been, like I said, immersing myself in this world of how it's done. So I know that it can be done. It's just practicing and practice make perfect. So
yeah, yeah, but yeah, and just yeah, but it's like realizing what the judges want to hear, and that's kind of. So we're pretty much out of time. But you got any parting words you wanna share to the folks out there listening?
uh, I think we covered everything. I just would say if you feel like you have something that's beneficial or profitable, just go for it. And I highly suggest contacting startup on the blocks to get this process started off, you know, with a clear understanding and a clear foundation to help you succeed sooner.
Good, good. That's really good. And I'm gonna put this site that you can join, and they'll send you um, like they do pitch competitions every day. They have demo days every day, and you can actually figure out um, what you can listen to a lot of pitches at least, and maybe you can find some of them that are actually um, related to your product or service. And so these are just a few that are upcoming, the next month, and you can listen in on these pitches. And I found out about this through this Visible Hand company here, and they yeah, so they're a VC firm, but you can just learn so much about what you're doing and get ideas from listening to these pitches, and that's how I learn about a lot of business models. So when I'm talking to a founder like you, I've seen so many pitches that and these different business models, and you can kind of come up with some suggestions to help people understand. All righty,
Yeah.
so uh, we're glad to have you on here this week, and I love hearing your story, and I think you got a story that you can pitch, and that it'll help you keep growing. So everybody will be back here next week for our 100th event.
All right.
And so we're so excited, and every day you like the Facebook post yesterday, and this young lady got this multi-million-dollar idea, and she's getting all this advice, and some of it is good, and some of it is not. And and so but you have to kind of get connected to kind of learn, and it's best to get connected before you actually even get started, and learn, and participate in it. And that's why we do the events, just to recruit people in so they can actually learn before they actually start working on solving a problem. And I'm I'm so thankful you are out there working on your deal, and growing and trying to make things happen, and you're setting a good example, and we appreciate coming on to share your story.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity,
Yeah.
and I look forward to working with you and coming stopping by to get some good advice.
Yeah, and we'll be glad to help you out there. And our job is to kind of help you move forward. And thanks everybody. We'll see you all next week or on Saturday for office hours. Bye
All right.
bye.